Stay with me. I want to bring in another small business owner right now. Magdalah Silva is president and CEO of DMS International. She says that President Obama should see himself as the chairman of the board, the CEO of this country. What do you mean by that, Magdalah?
I mean to say that this country has probably the best brand equity worldwide. I mean to say that we have a resilient and very powerful small business community and a very powerful and active women-owned business community. And if we're able to rally the forces and give a direction where we can propulse the economy, that he would be able to really have the small business and the women-owned businesses work to the best interest of developing this economy. And we're ready to stand up and to take on that task.
Well, Magdalah, I've got a question for my colleague Kimberly Guilfoyle, but, by the way, I mean, James owns tanning salons. More than 60% of those tanning salons are actually owned by women, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, a lot of women use them as well. Magdalah, I couldn't agree with you more. And in terms of looking even at these midterm elections and President Obama's favorability, he really has taken a drop in terms of women and women business owners, I think, for the reasons that you are stating. And what is your idea or your plan for him to kind of turn this around to get women more engaged and improve the economy, especially as it relates to women's businesses?
Well, I think that the president has the heart in the right place. There have been tangible activities that have taken place with the Small Business Jobs Act and the women's procurement. I am a member of the board of Women Impacting Public Policy, and we take very seriously all of the actions that are taking place on the Hill and that the administration is taking care of. So we're listening very attentively. What the administration needs to do is to realize that it's as if we're at fourth and goal. And you have to score. And you've got special teams, and the special teams are women-owned businesses and small businesses. Put them out in front. Give the support that is required. A lot of the activities that are now in the Small Business Jobs Bill are 18 months out before they actually move from paper to implementation. That is too long. We need to be able to have the activities moving right now. There needs to be a full frontal attack on how the Small Business Jobs Act is going to get put into effect.
But I want to bring in one point to Todd and also to Magdalah and to James as well, is that the president did just pass a small business bill at the end of September, and it was tax breaks and it was incentives and cap gains in particular was mentioned, but we don't seem to be seeing the effects of that.
And do yourself a favor. Try to obtain one of these grants and go through all of the red tape, because it's not any fun. I mean, you are going to go through hours and hours of frustration, and then you're going to be losing sales because you should be going after new clients. Look, the common denominator here of all of this, though, is that, one, the president has zero business acumen. We know that. But number two, it's poor sales. And you don't have customers. You don't have clients. You don't have people spending money. So when you start talking about taxes on the small business side, that really influences or impacts hiring. I mean, lack of hiring, we should say. But it clearly impacts the consumer, and it's those extra taxes.
Yeah, the problem is, Magdalah makes a great point, too, is that, this is too far out. 18 months, that's just not good enough. We're not going to be able to reap the benefit of that till then, what, after you get it going and you start it up, 2 years from then? And we need something that's more immediate. If you really want to stimulate the economy, help small businesses, help the middle class, help women's businesses to thrive, then you've got to shorten that time frame and expedite it and show that you really mean what you say by focusing your energies on that and cut through some of the red tape that he's talking about.
And James, I want to throw that to you because, this bill was passed at the end of September. I mean, do you think that you're going to benefit? I mean, I'm wondering, you've already shut down 2 salons. You're thinking about shutting down more. Would this change your mind?
Right. It's also timing. How quickly can we get this done? And also how the banks look at our industry. If they see an industry that's in a decline, they're much less likely to support us financially than they look at a business that's more viable. So it makes it much more difficult that way.
Magdalah, same question to you.
Well, I think overall we need to look, and everyone needs to look, and regardless of which side of the aisle that you're on, we need to look at American competitiveness. And everyone's got to do their part to be able to move the agenda of American competitiveness forward. You've got 2 special teams, women-owned businesses, small businesses. They're ready to do their part. Give them the incentive. Work with the banks. The banks are not doing what they should in terms of giving the energy for small business and the momentum for them to be able to do what they do best. I think the administration has to be very serious about cutting down the time frame that it takes to be able to propulse the economy and putting effort and support behind their best advocates, small businesses and women-owned businesses.
Well, because, Don Kimberly, frankly, because this is just my opinion, but that he has done nothing but beat up on the banks, this administration has. So if you make enemies of the banks, they're not going to want to go out and loan to anybody, whether it's a small business or big business, no.
You wouldn't. If you keep being punitive in the measures you're taking, that is not going to make anyone happy or stimulate the economy or increase the public trust and confidence in the American economy. And I want to tell you something else. He had a supermajority in both houses, 45-seat advantage in the House. He should have used that political power and prowess to focus on the economy first. Instead, we just had all the stimulus money going through, and we had Obamacare that was pushed through. And that is part of the problem. So it is no surprise that we continue to see ourselves in this mess, because it should have been priority number one when he came into office, and you know it.
Yeah, and Kimberly's spot on with that, because you talk about Obamacare. We had $1 trillion right down our throats right there.
Which we can't afford Obamacare either.
And it's going to kill the small business owner, because then they don't even know what really the details of Obamacare really are. Nobody does right now. It seems to be this grand secret. And then we have to talk about all the other taxes. And then we also have, we're not even talking about the death tax. I mean, that expires soon.
Well,
so when you start talking about family businesses, push tax cuts.
This is a disaster. I'm going home.
We're taxing everybody. And then hold it. Then also the ancillary tax, higher oil prices. It costs money to get those goods and services out to the businesses to sell to the consumer. You know, the Fed's talking about inflation. That is inflation. Just rely on Obama, and there's all your inflation.
Oh,
right
he's
there.
fired up.
You both are.
I can't even go make myself happy by doing a tan. I'm stressed out about
But, you know, I
James,
think
you hear that?
fundamentally, what I
Very
think
good.
is fundamentally important, that we've all got to be on the same page here. And the same page is that we've got to create jobs. We've got to be able to encourage the investment in small business. We've got to be able to support women-owned businesses, and the banks have got to lend. If everybody's on the same page, moving the same playbook, I think that we're going to be just fine.
Magdalah Silva, the CEO of DMS International, of course, to James Oliveri, Beach Bum Tanning owner. Great to have you both
Thank you
on
very
the
much.
program.
Thank you very much.
I definitely
Pleasure
want
to be here.
updates on how your businesses are doing in the